first pick, theoretically, Elise, and they can just grab a Rek'Sai if they want it.
But do consider that Galio or Caitlyn can now be forced to be left open on the blue side as well. So
that's a good point.
Because you move away from Kha'Zix, there is going to be a cost, and they ban Xayah on blue side. There's going to be a lot left open, as you can see.
I feel like Afreeca are now almost picked into banning away something like the
Galio
Caitlyn
or
because
Caitlyn.
they do like to pick the Xayah into the Caitlyn. Now not an option. As Kramer, a little bit of a smirk on his face, is like, yeah, that's right, you're banning away this champion.
And look at this. They're going to leave open Galio, Caitlyn, and more. Longzhu and Afreeca have both had success on the Galio. BDD so far this season is 4-0 on Galio, and Afreeca have played it the most. Kuro doesn't have as insane a win rate on it. We'll take it if left available. So what is the decision between the two? It will be Galio over Caitlyn. So it might have to be Prey jumping on the Ashe and trying to make picks, because otherwise, a lot of teams this last couple of weeks have been happy to just delay a game to 6-item Caitlyn. And we already saw close to 6-item Xayah in game 1 from Kramer. 6-item Caitlyn sounds pretty fierce.
Well, the Gragas is like the last jungler available for Longzhu, unless Kuz wants to go back to something like a Graves or an Olaf.
Please no.
Because there really isn't anything else. 5 junglers, including Elise, as Longzhu goes into their second round of picks. So an understandable pickup, like you said, 100% win rate for BDD on the Galio. And in this series, in this particular matchup, he was able to take both of the victories that Longzhu were able to get. But it is a fantastic second round for Afreeca, and understandable pickups here with the Caitlyn and the Elise being locked away. And now Kuro, what does he want to pick up in answer to this Galio? Does he go back to something like his Malzahar? There are some options.
Yeah, the Malzahar will probably be a ban by Longzhu if it's not taken at this pick. So it is something to consider. Kuz only played a single game of Gragas, and it was a loss after over-pursuing Felice in kicks in game 1. And okay, a different school of thought. Kuro will be jumping onto the Lucian. Kuro on mid lane AD carry is an interesting topic because quietly one of his best performing champions ever was mid lane Varus. That was a pick that actually he would often play farm mode, and then in team fights he would be so on position with the line skill shots that it would make a lot happen. Now Lucian's a different beast when it comes to these mid lane AD carries, but we've seen it pretty frequently, a mid lane pick into the Galio. Outside chances flex to top, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that from Marin.
Well, Renekton is going to be banned away, so maybe. It's only Huni so far that has played it up towards the top side of the map.
Played overseas as well, but into that Kennen matchup,
Well,
and
yes.
Kennen has been pretty heavily deprioritized in recent weeks. Gragas also a takeaway pick for Marin, is most played in the top side, and Thresh going to see a respect ban, and Gorilla, the double hooks on Kuro, so maybe Kuro put up his hand and said, not again, please.
I like it. Getting in the head of his former teammate. Like, damn it, he knows me too well. It's Braum, understandable ban, going to be taken away from Tucson after a brilliant performance.
When you see double AD carry, you know Gorilla's thinking about something like the Rakan, and the Alistair perhaps is most famous.
Ooh.
Well, we see the first Blitzcrank coming through on the side of Gorilla. That's another intriguing one to consider. Could also just go laning focus now that he sees the Tahm Kench. With that revealed, you could go Zyra or Lulu, which has been pretty common for Gorilla as well, but the double AD does make me feel like a strong initiating support would be a pretty big boon here.
With Caitlyn as well for Afreeca Freecs, they will be able to navigate through what could be a difficult lane, as the Zyra is being considered at the moment by Longzhu.
Just going to go for that laning focus. Ashe Zyra, famous duo.
Yep, the old C9 bottom lane. So I believe they were the ones that debuted this combo a while ago.
I already invoked the name of C9 in the summer season 2013, and that's a very old one. As okay, Khan needs to blind pick a top laner, wants the lane pressure. Marin and Khan battling for lane pressure got to that incredible state where Renekton was counterpicked by Mordekaiser just 10 days ago. So what will Marin want to take into, admittedly, most likely the Jace, but you're right, it is a flex to some degree. He will run the Kennen anyway. Heavily expected to be Jace into Kennen. Interesting stuff in the top side between these two. Going to be very squishy there, but Longzhu have the super tank in the mid lane. So wherever Kuz goes, the Galio can follow. That means that the Kennen, we already saw Huni camped in the top lane. Level 6 onwards for Galio could see some real attention being thrown at top side to try to keep Marin down.
Yeah, very different composition here by the Afreeca Freecs as well. No longer that backline dive focus from Marin unless he does want to get in there with some sort of AP cannon or something like that, but still not going to be the big body used to tank up all of that damage. A lot of that split pushing power now in the hands of this cannon, and with the last pick, not going to see a lot of those answers that we've been coming to terms with, as that Lucian top, like you mentioned, was largely picked into the cannon, but might be a different story now with the Jace versus the Electric Rat.
We get to see Kuro first ever career game on the Lucian, different to his standard picks in the mid lane, much more known for the Victor, for the standard wave clear Karma as well. So Lucian requires a different skill set. Kuro has been great this season, but it's a different animal, so tracking his performance in the mid lane will be fun to do.
Well, BDD's undefeated. He's going for game number 5 on this Galio to see whether the blue side can stay victorious and we can get a third game in this series. Let's see whether we do. Longzhu fans keen for a win, keen for that full money's worth here in the Soli Stadium, making sure that they can get the third game, the deciding match between these two, but that is getting ahead of ourselves. Still, Afreeca are decked out with a lot as Kuro and Prey fans in the audience.
Cute to see them sitting next to each other, given that they are no longer teammates now, of course. Still plenty of love for my Rocks Tigers.
Now spread out across many teams.
Thankfully, all in Korea. We didn't lose any of them. None of them were exported.
I like how the bottom lane stayed together as well. It would have felt weird if Prey and Gorilla had parted ways.
Cannon does have the Fervor of Battle, so it's going to be the on-hit AD Cannon with Elise jungle. That did seem pretty likely. They had the flexibility to go to AD solo laners, but given that it was Lucian mid lane, outside chance he would have felt frisky and gone for the AP Cannon.
Do like a frisky AP cannon.
Sadly, we've only seen 2. Both of them were Marin, and both of them were losses. So perhaps he's lost his AP cannon privileges for now.
Unfortunate. Unless he's taking the Fear of Battle just for some lane dominance, and then he's going to go and be the special snowflake that he is.
Marin's always a special snowflake.
Oh, he is. Maybe he builds a Rage Blade, goes best of both worlds.
You say best. I would say worst of both worlds.
I know you would. However, I love me a Rage Blade. I'm going to start on the blue buff here. No buff going to be the start, so bottom lane helping out. Leashes on both sides as Kuz going to grab his little raptors.
Kind of surprising that with Vision so shallow on both sides, given there's a carry matchup in the top lane, no one has any information about the level 1, as Khan thought he'd be clever and walk in for a few free autos, given the minions were less likely to leash as he went for autos, but Marin moved into his minion wave, turned around with his own ranged auto attacks, and Khan loses out on the health trade. Needs to be careful, because it is Doran's shield from Marin, so more likely to be able to shrug off the trade damage.
He's even able to get that W proc there as well, so a lot of value being given to the cannon. Kuro actually playing quite aggressively here in the mid lane. We've seen Kuro come into his own here just recently on Afreeca Freecs, really having some aggressive plays when he was known as a little bit of a sponge there in the mid lane, especially when he was on the Rocks Tigers.
It's cool that he can change gears more than perhaps he was allowed latitude on the Rocks Tigers to do, where he was largely on that wave clear duty. All in the top side, Kuz is here, but the minion wave may ruin things.
Yeah, looking for that body slam, just gets it point blank. Marin flashing, but maybe a little bit too late as there's first blood. And Khan once again is going to be the benefactor.
Yeah, it was a pretty trivial start, but Afreeca Freecs may be kicking themselves for not putting down Vision at level 1 to get the obvious information about the pathing from the Gragas. If they had the early knowledge of when the blue buff was going down, much lower likelihood that Kuz would have been able to come through with the right angle. Marin had defensive vision down. He'd already pushed up. Classic level 2 death for Marin, but with information earlier, may have been able to be avoided.
Yeah. At least now he was able to hold onto that minion wave. Teleport comes out from Khan onto a minion. See whether he can shove this wave forward. With that Shock Blast, he should be able to, and now with the Doran's advantage, the Jace is in a great spot. And we'll see whether Marin can once again nullify the advantage that Khan picked up with intelligent play, with intelligent buys as well.
Spirit's in the top side, walking through a control ward. Control ward's from both sides there, but Spirit will deal with this one.
Actually going to get a lot of value out of this. May as well have Just come up here instead of taking a camp, pop a smithy.
It was just a control ward and the refillable from Marin after his early death.
BDD taking a lot of trade damage.
I mean, his life kind of sucks. It is ranged versus melee in the mid lane. And
yeah.
This early in, the Winds of War, even with its huge base damages, isn't going to be able to push faster than both ranged auto attacks and the Q.
And what does Galio do now that you can't get that triple Doran's ring for all the super value with the mana regen?
I think it's worth remembering that in Korea, mid lane Galio, especially Kuro, would go no Doran's rings. There were some mid laners still going triple AP, but I think it was less necessary than you might have thought. So I think you can just go into something like a Glacial Shroud if you're going to be looking for armor, which, given the team comp he's against, is certainly going to be a purchase. There's a lot of flexibility of item builds. It certainly won't be an Abyssal Mask or something like that. Maybe in future patches, the Catalyst Rush will come in to allow an Abyssal Mask to be considered. And interestingly, we'll actually be going for the nerfed double Dorans to get the most power this early. So we'll not be getting the unique passive, but BDD will be getting less efficiency out of these item builds than you would have before.
Yeah, still going to get the damage on the minion wave, so the wave clear potential is still there as BDD doesn't find the taunt, but at least pulls Kuro out of here, forces him to expend his mana. Relentless Pursuit, not exactly cheap at the beginning of the game.
I wonder about the double Dorans. It might have been a gold value thing. If you could afford a Glacial Shroud, Control Ward, and a Potion, I think that would have been where you would go. Kuz does get the casual steal.
Yes, wanders all the way through. Gets cocooned. Spirit understands that he doesn't have very many places to go. Is now BDD full health. Kramer's going to turn up. Tucson's going to be here as well. It's a 4 versus 4 on the bottom side, and immediately the Catfish is melted. Kramer now off on his own. Longzhu were looking for it. A lot of damage goes back. Good cocoon. But Kuro may have been baited forward. Winds of War do a lot. And now Prey gets the slow. The second auto is enough to take down the mid laner. And 3-0 now for Longzhu.
So crucial that they popped Tucson during CC duration. Couldn't even use his gray health and died with both summoners up. That changed the story as Afreeca were in position for a turn, assuming that Tucson would buy a lot more time. Wasn't able to do that. And now 3-kill advantage to Longzhu game.
And we said that Afreeca were playing well second game, despite the early lead that Longzhu were able to pick up. That's a different story now with all of that advantage being spread across the map. You have certain answers, of course. They had a lead in the mid lane. Kuro will still be able to capitalize on that, but probably not for all that much longer because BDD picking up one of those kills, the assist there as well. He's got the triple Dorans, help himself out in this early game, and will now have a lot of wave clear. Goes back to base, and I'll betcha there'll be some extra cloth armors in his next purchase.
Glacial Shroud that I was thinking about as the first item taken is Tucson.
Okay, he's going to use the flash.
That's the red buff.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I tell a lie. It was actually Kuz. My apologies.
I was like, I'll believe him, but I don't see it. Is he too fat? Oh, close.
Everyone's trying to steal buffs.
Everyone's trying to steal everything.
The thing I worry about from Afreeca's side is their comp went ahead. Makes perfect sense, right? Because Kennen rushing his way down the top on hit build, trying to take down turrets. Double AD, Lucian and Kuro and Kramer, and Lucian and Caitlyn to take turrets in other lanes. But wait for mid lane.
There's the flash body slam. Taunt comes down as well. Kuro's got nowhere to go. Decent damage onto Kuz, but he's still going to lose his life. And that is Kuro dead twice in the mid lane. BDD's Galio. I mean, I know it's just Galio in general, but BDD does make it look even more broken than normal.
And in this scenario, it's so much more straightforward for Longzhu to play their game out because their game plan is just Kuz dives in, heroic entrance on a very squishy lineup of Afreeca Freecs, and they will win true all-in team fights. That's not what Afreeca picked for, is red buff.
Oh, Kuz. Able to get it despite Spirit having the execute and smite combo that Elise always likes. Doesn't matter.
Afreeca picked comp to play from ahead, and they are not going to be ahead for the foreseeable future. They don't have the same late game insurance because Kramer, sure, he could hit 5-6 item Caitlyn, but his front line is so much less robust than what he had in the previous game, so then that's going to save them, and it does feel like another classic Galio special because Galio from ahead, his ability to rotate first with the hero's entrance, and just these trades you see in lane. If he's winning lane, it does mean they're going to win side lanes as well because he can just jump up and outnumber in any situation.
Yeah, Kuro has no opportunity to follow as well, and if he's kept behind like this, he's not going to be able to threaten these turrets, which a lot of these Lucian mids are able to do. It's like, yes, I've got out of the lane, but oh wait, I've lost 3 turrets in a row, but Kuro is in a different state right now. See whether it is going to matter as this game moves forward, because Kuro, Blade of the Ruined King is going to be important against this Galio. But he's going to have a lot of armor built up. Now going to go back to base. We'll see what he can actually purchase next round. It is going to be Mercury Treads. A lot of respect for Spirit, actually, with that purchase.
Itemization for BDD has a couple of options. Frozen Heart and Iceborne Gauntlet when it comes to the Glacial Shroud. I'm actually a fan of Frozen Heart in this game because you are against Kennen,
the triple attack.
Kennen, Caitlyn, and Lucian, right? Because, as you say, it's basically 3 AD stackers, so it makes a lot of sense to go the Frozen Heart, even if the wave clear potential of Winds of War into an Iceborne Gauntlet proc is usually instant clear.
And a lot more fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. No disagreements there. Cuz, Spot Spirit.
Yeah, nice body slam. Spirit taking a lot of damage. Cocoon is going to stop the damage for now, and good repel gets himself out of the way. Arrow casually slides by as that... Okay, Barrel did a lot of work, but Spirit survives.
But once we can say, pray Mr. Nash Arrow.
It was an optimistic one anyway.
But it does force Spirit out of potentially contesting for the Infernal Drake. So given specifically the Drake that was there, I love Cuz walking to the enemy jungle, knowing what camps were up, just eliminating Spirit from the Smite Steal equation and picking up a free Infernal Drake. This same play with a Cloud or Ocean, it's alright, but with an Infernal in mind, great play from Longzhu and a second Infernal spawn. They had 3 mountains in game 1. Maybe we're getting lucky here too, Atlas.
Yeah, well, so far this series today, it's been 2 Infernals, 3 mountains, because even Summoner's Rift knows that this is a battle for the ages. Just going to give us the high-value dragons to make sure that we have as much hype as possible.
And definitely Afreeca Freecs will probably look to find any creative way to contest the next Infernal. They have 4 damage dealers and a Tahm Kench. So they will have plenty of value out of the bonus percentage AD and AP, but so far we'll be denied from getting there, and we already mentioned that when it starts being a 5v5, Galio alone basically undoes everything Afreeca's comp wants to set up for in a 5v5. Hence the creativity needed.
Yes. We'll see whether that is going to be Marin pushing ahead in the split push, something like that. Blade of the Ruined King going to be opted in for here by Khan, which is understandable. More of that split pushing 1v1 duelist build seen so often. BDD gets himself right in amongst the action. And Kaz looking to make his way over again. Flash was up. Kuro has to be so careful. Good body slam. He is going to be able to flash, but is it going to be enough to get himself out of the way? Explosive cast. Winds of War not going to find it as Kuro will have the blast cone. Oh, God, that was close. Beautiful prediction from BDD. So now Kuro, this is behind enemy lines.
Wants to try and execute, it's not going to happen.
Oh, that was close.
I don't think it would have died to the first turret shot, so Gragas would have got in there. Does delay some time. On the minimap, it's allowed Tucson and Spirit to walk up, ward the enemy Raptors, start to take them, but certainly not going to be a massive reward, given that Galio will deny creeps to the mid lane turret.
At least Kuro is competitive in farm, only down by 6, despite dying 3 times. But the 2-0-2 sitting on the Galio is going to mean that that gold lead in the mid lane is going to be pretty preposterous.
We went through a phase last week where Galio was losing a couple of games, and then we've had basically Galio at permaban status since, and then you see some of the best play Galio, and you're like, this is why no one can ever leave this champion open.
Yeah. I feel like if there's any that you're going to leave open, like, what were the bans on the side of Afreeca? It was Zac, Kha'Zix, and Rek'Sai, and I feel like Kha'Zix and Rek'Sai, you could almost just not ban them.
Especially the Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
The Kha'Zix, given that it's Kuz, who was 8-2 as we come into this game, I don't mind that as a ban, but yeah, I'm right with you on the Rek'Sai because, yeah, Galio is ridiculous. Wins trades in lane, straight up. The Q auto trades are very strong. Wins side lanes, and can push. He does everything.
Yeah. And Kuz is looking pretty good on this Gragas as well. I mean, that's what they were opting in for. It's let's make Kuz look as uncomfortable as possible. The Lee Sin didn't look great in game number 1.
He's showing that even though Gragas is a more difficult champion to play than the Rex side with a single target CC, so far so good. As there's a Voyage out. They're going to get the turret here for sure. So this will be first brick to Longzhu, but the Abyssal Voyage, I imagine, is trying to get an answering objective in mid. Problem is, Galio's going to wait.
Yeah. And probably not die even if he was not under the turret.
It's sitting on a lot of gold, so maybe this is one of the few times where Galio is slightly more brittle, but yep, Freecs not going to try and risk that one.
Understandable. Prey going to go for the Essence Reaver. Not feeling very much pressure at all, just going to opt in for more of a scaling build. Has the Zeal there as well.
El Clasico.
Yeah.
Prey was the first to go Essence Reaver Hurricane as a build. We're still using that in the semifinals of Worlds against SK Telecom T1. Blade the Ruin King has been the common build, but so you do see a Blade here, and you might wonder why did Jace go Blade? Because he's not trying to Blade down a Renekton and actually get benefit out of the on-hit passive. I think honestly the main reason he went Blade was to Blade after the cannon does and have the ability to chase down, because the person uses Blade the Ruin King active second is going to steal more movement speed. Because it's not really a Blade the Ruin King game for Longzhu. You look down the lineup and you're like, I guess Tucson will build a bit of health, but no one else will be.
Yeah, like maybe. Now Marin going to be attacked here by Cuz. Spirit just looking to try and get rid of the Jace as there's the heroic entrance. That is a dead little cannon. Good God. This game is getting pretty gross, Papa Smithy.
When you want to help out your enemy, when you want to help out your jungler to invade, when you see a Nunu being locked in, you're auto-filled mid lane thinking about what to play. A lot of people would think of Twisted Fate, right, to be able to be there fast. Galio gets there faster.
Yeah.
You think of, you know, if you have a Shaco jungle, for example, you put in Galio, he's got 40% damage reduction. He does his job better. Galio's ability, when you're ahead, to invade, be the first to rotate, and cement bigger and bigger advantages is the reason that he is so insane. And he's winning his own lane and winning others. Got a Frozen Heart, unkillable in the mid lane. I just don't see a way back for the Afreeca Freecs.
Yep. 4.3 thousand gold the lead here for Longzhu. Frozen Heart's done. The Warden's Mail there for Cuz. He's getting tanky on top of the damage that he was doing. Actually quite remarkable damage given his early start with just his Runic Echoes. Longzhu now just setting up to once again kill Kuro.
For the Ash Arrow, Kuro does have Cleanse, worth noting.
May need to use it here. Okay, Prey does a bit of damage.
Well, the Thunderlord's proc was from Gorilla. I was trying to work that out. I'm like, pretty sure Prey doesn't have Thunderlords.
That's how you play Ash. Noting. Spirit, he's going to get body slammed. Flash actually going to be invested in.
Cuz hadn't used Cask, so the worst respect Flash in that scenario. Doesn't mean Cuz can continue walking up, and he doesn't really have too many cares.
No, even gets out of the way of the Voltar Spiderling.
His turn on to Tucson, he got interrupted during the Abyssal Voyage.
Oh, almost managed to juke the arrow, and now they're looking for everything. BDD lets the taunt go off, then Justice punches. Cuz drops a barrel on the head of Kramer. That says goodnight, and the good news stories for Longzhu never end, and the nightmare seems to be also infinite for Afreeca.
And against the team with 2 perfect games, the perfect answer to Game 1's loss. They're actually on track for a perfect game, Atlas, 17.5 minutes in. And with the Galio being able to back up, with a second Infernal Drake going to Longzhu, the path to the perfect game, that's actually an arduous one. Maybe they won't get there, but the path to a Game 2 victory is looking trivial for Longzhu game.
And Khan is actually looking to take down the Rift Herald as well. Oh, jukes out of the way by even getting the buff as there's the heroic entrance. PDD says there is nowhere that Khan can be that I cannot help him. And they are able to... This is called having the cake and eating it too. I've used this one before, but this is exactly the analogy necessary for
they're having the cake, eating it too. They bought the cake shop. I mean, literally everything going their way as Marin just wants to stop the perfect game.
Yeah. Cuz taking a little bit of damage, but that is going to be the smite, and he casually wanders out. Not going to walk too fast, of course. Being a larger man, it's a little bit difficult, but wasn't actually forced to. Have a look at this one again, as that's going to be the interrupt, I believe. Oh no, was it cancelled?
It looked like it might have been cancelled, so it was off screen, so the interrupt was the first thought, but the rest of it we saw. The double taunt coming through. BDD, we may love him on the high mechanic champions, but makes the Galio look pretty damn clean as well.
Oh yeah, that shield into the Justice Punch Target selection was perfect. Positioning was perfect. I mean, he's not a super difficult, complicated champion to play, but certainly mastery there. Khan's going to make his way to the mid lane, and BDD's just standing in.
They don't even want to waste the Rift Herald charge on this very low turret. Happy to walk up. The moment that you see people happy to eat Caitlyn turrets lets you know how game's going.
Yeah.
Gonna channel Rift Herald, look for a second turret, and good luck, Freecs.
Well, Culling going to be used, clear out the minion wave. But Harold's going to jump his way in, and that is going to spell turret number 2 in the mid lane. The map wide open for Longzhu. More stats with the double Infernal. It's a triple Infernal game. Oh, baby. Talk about the right dragons. It's going to be 4 Infernal Drakes, 3 Mountain Drakes so far this series. And
if you're Longzhu Gaming, surprisingly, you might be like, wait, do we really need to get all our high-roll Drakes in this game where we will win anyway?
Well, don't worry. The next game going to also have these Drakes.
It's very hard to convince gamers that things like the Drake spawn rate are independent events, because definitely it feels like you got all your good Drakes and then lose out is, well, the perfect game on the line.
Yep, they want to be able to get something, but as heroic entrance, BDD says, get punched, Spirit. He's going to jump up into the air and then inevitably die. They're looking for Tucson, and he's going to die as well, and it's just all too easy for Longzhu. They have the answer for everything. Every desperation move that Afreeca have. 11-0. 7,000 gold the lead. 4 turrets to none. This perfect game is well on track. It's 20 minutes and 40 seconds into the game, and I believe Longzhu are thinking, maybe Baron?
Should be pretty free. Khan has teleport just in case they spot a flanker. There is a ward here, but it's going to be cancelled. As Kuro has the culling to try to delay things.
Yeah, teleport's going to come in. Now going to spot him, I believe, as there's the empowered shock blast to go over the side. Spirit, he's still in base, though. Oh my god, Khan flashes on Kramer. That's a couple of autos that are going to secure it. And there's the Baron falling down. Cuz wants to... That was adorable. Okay, that's how you get rid of him. The longest explosive cask throw I have ever seen, with the sick fadeaway.
Most comical, like the fadeaway, like you say.
Yeah.
Seemed like it was curving both his body and also the cask.
That's what you need. I've seen that Wanted movie. Wasn't great. You know.
Yeah,
I really good actors.
I don't know if that's
a
a badge of honor. I saw that Wanted movie.
Yeah. Well, there's curved bullets in it.
Is this where we admit to the movies that we wish we hadn't watched?
Like Ultraviolet.
I have seen Ultraviolet. It wasn't my choice.
I have never wanted my time back more than after watching that movie.
Here's a question. What's the movie that you, like, convinced your friends or convinced yourself to go watch? Maybe convinced your friends, because there's, like, people who are caught in the crossfire to go watch that was, like, the most terrible.
Like, I like it,
like you were like, this is the movie we should go watch, guys.
Yeah, I've done that a lot, but they're often movies that I've seen and I enjoy.
No. I'm going with the, like, blind optimism into just complete faceplant.
Oh, God.
Mine was probably Meet the Spartans. That was my bad.
Oh, God, what? No, come on. I know you as an intelligent man.
I wasn't always intelligent. I was younger at one point, Atlas.
I remember when that movie came out. You weren't that young. Oh, God.
All right, the perfect game's still on the line. You can have a couple more moments to think before the end of this broadcast of what your movie is. Spirit's going to find Khan. There's a lot of people here.
Okay. Can he get out of the way of this one? Nope, they just want to deny the perfect game, and they are going to do so. Spirit locks down the kill. That is going to put a 1 on the board. That is going to sacrifice the majority of the rest of the turrets on the map. This Baron buff is going to push forward. BDD is invincible. Looks like he's going for a Gargoyle Stone Plate, something like that. I like that pickup.
I know you're paid to cast League of Legends, but don't change the topic, damn it.
You want to know? Well, like, the thing is, I suggest a lot of really bad movies because I often just really like bad movies.
I want something where you were like, this is going to be good. It wasn't an ironic recommendation, and then it was
No. Okay, so one of my all-time favorite movies is a movie called Out Cold. It's one of the first Zach Galifianakis films. Kramer takes some damage. And it's about snowboarding and drinking.
And so you recommended that people go watch this?
Yeah. And so,
how would you rate that movie?
It was a girl that I was seeing at the time. I was like, this is my favorite movie. It's going to tell you a lot about me. We're going to really enjoy it together. It's going to be great. And we watched the whole movie, and it was in relative silence. And afterwards, she was just like, that was the worst film I have ever seen.
Did you enjoy the movie?
Loved it.
That was an awkward date, Atlas.
Well, look, he ended up dating for quite some time, so
It worked out.
It apparently didn't ruin anything, but still, that was a little bit sad.
You know what else is sad? Just how far ahead Longzhu are in this
Yeah.
game.
3 Infernal Drakes as well. Oh god, close to 10,000 at 24 minutes is nothing to scoff at.
Even Gorilla's pumping out the damage.
Oh yeah, with that one haunting, guys, in his Eye of the Watcher.
We should really make a movie review podcast. We could have
Hey, we
recorded an
should.
episode about Saving Private Ryan.
Hey, we could have!
We didn't, though.
And we could have made heaps of, like, Baron Buff minion references.
You know what's the best thing about being an LCK caster? We don't need a podcast. We just talk about it during the game.
This is our podcast. Some people listen to this without watching, Papa Smithy. That's why we're so visual with our explanations of things. Oh, look at that sweet drone flying into the base, giving Prey the vision. They siege this inhibitor
I'm just
turret.
waiting for someone to Rambo flash. They got Galio in their
Whoa,
pocket.
the fade away arrow coming out of the back of the Gragas. It's exciting. They get a few extra auto attacks on the turret as a result, as Khan and BDD are pushing up here in the mid lane. A lot of damage available to the Jace.
Are they low enough to not be willing to press the go button? It seems like they are.
There's no more perfect game on the line. They may as well just throw themselves at Afreeca a couple of times. Don't know whether that's going to be enough to get Afreeca back in this one.
Hey, you're not casting China games yet. That's next week, Alex.
Oh, I'm just getting myself back in the swing of things, you know?
Gotta get back in the mindset of China games.
Yep. Yeah, yep.
Well, you're frustrated, so just throw yourselves, and eventually it'll work out.
Oh, it was the old LGD tactic. But I respect that, you know? It's like, if you're pretty sure you're going to lose, you may as well just go for, like, the ultra-low probability plays that may just win you the game if your opponent is, for some reason, AFK.
Are you sure they were trying to win the game, or were they trying more so to make a highlight clip?
Either way,
Godby especially
suited me.
was not interested in winning the game as much as he was to be in the top 5 players.
And to look the angriest out of most players you've ever seen. And actually, no, that's not about looking angry. It's about being angry.
No Godby coming up in Rift Rivals, unfortunately. We get Icon, though. That's fun.
OMG actually looking
OMG versus MVP sounds like an incredible mini mismatch.
It's really cool because it almost means that Korea versus China isn't going to be super one-sided.
If anything, OMG have everything to lose, though.
That's true. And MVP...
It is the
just
Kongdu monster
recently
at
get-
IEM kind of scenario here.
MVP may be coming off the back of a victory over SKT. You don't know.
That's... Well, best of luck. Brendan and Crumbs with that one.
You heard it here first.
What was that accent?
I don't know. You know me, when it gets to that stage where there's not very much commentary.
Khan, that's not the brush to look in.
Oh dear. 2 enemies, 1 brush.
I think I saw that movie.
Yeah, not a great one.
Well,
Okay. The dive
Longzhu's
potential's
been
here.
it's pretty silly in the bot side. Khan can teleport back in 40 seconds. So they have been slowed down. They still have an incredible advantage. It should not be relevant apart from delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, but still haven't broken the base yet. And there's a Caitlyn, you know, something late game scaling, something. Because, ooh, good timing. Body slam gets himself out of the way. Even gets his barrel down. Nicely done. Oh, Burning Face now available for Gorilla, the best item on Zyra ever.
Burning
Gorilla's going
Face.
to be doing damage. Yeah, it's Leandra's.
Well, it seems like Longzhu might just kill our 3rd Baron instead. A 2nd Baron, my apologies. 3rd Baron be a bit insane at 27 minutes. Hot fire of the triple Infernals means that if they actually group and force something, if they turret dive, they really have options aplenty with all their flashes up short of Khan. Someone can just Rambo all in, and then Galio jumps on top and makes it all okay. Longzhu seem to be looking for the percentage play, when the percentages actually just say, dive the damn turret. You've got a Galio, it'll work out.
Yeah. And Cuz just needs to jump in there. There could be a heroic entrance to make things happen. A few options here.
Tucson
Now-
is actually going to check the Baron with the Abyssal Voyage.
That was cute. Means that they don't have to face check the casual normal face check brushes, as Tucson's going to tank up some of these little plants. Drew at least clear out the vision now, but Afreeca Freecs discovered that they weren't taking the Baron, so good news story. That's where you have to dig pretty deep for good things to say, but if Afreeca Freecs can hold on for another 30 minutes, I think that money's going to be irrelevant. And if their base isn't broken yet, things could be good. And if Cuz keeps completely missing abilities, that will also be helpful.
Cuz maybe misreading the fact that Khan had given up the last 2 deaths, throwing out the party cask bubbling style. Not what you want to be doing.
No.
Turning on to Baron is an option. The dive we mentioned are an option. The teleport is up from Khan. They will stop the Baron. Spirit's in the area though, and Gorilla alone can only do so much goaltending.
Yeah. He's at least going to spot Spirit moving his way in, and he is in position, so there should be a 50-50. Arrow's going to land. That's a lot of knockups onto Kuro as BDD finds the snare. Khan grabs the kill. The Baron was just forsaken as they were just opting in for that one pick.
The Righteous Glory, I believe, coming through from BDD for the initiation build even after the use of the ultimate, allowing Tucson to back, not having vision of the enemy Krugs is actually giving Afreeca more recall options. Smite does come through from Cuz. We'll have another charge in 15 seconds. They can still turn on to Baron.
Okay, gets themselves over there. Marin, no teleport.
Spirit thinks because Smite was used, he has a bit of time. He does not.
Is wandering over as quickly as he possibly can. They get no vision really, but
nice cast.
Control Ward does go over. BDD gets the Justice Punch, stops this one from going down as Cuz secures the Baron. Gorilla eventually falls, but the trade, I'd say, is probably in favor of Longzhu Gaming as it's a 3-for-1 in the end, and a Baron buff to top it all off.
Took a long time to actually get an advantage. There's the Ash Arrow. Prey doesn't miss many of those.
Yep, and he's going to be able to find this one as well. The last auto attack is there, makes it a 1v1. Yeah.
Time to break the base, I think, Atlas. We're trying to put some hype in there, but it's only really just nice plays after Longzhu won the game oh so long ago. Could have been a 20-minute game. Could have been a 20-minute surrender. The result would not have been different. From the game timer.
Yeah, look at these tanky bodies. Not even sure which one of them was tanking up that turret because it was doing negligible damage. Prey, on the other hand, certainly not. Does have his double zeal item as well as the Essence Reaver. Do massive amounts actually. That build isn't exactly super high on the damage end, but we'll have a lot of arrows to throw out. Almost has it back up again after killing Kramer.
Get a lot of value out of the Q though from the Ash when you have the Hurricane and also very high attack speed. The first the cask was used, then BDD jumps over. Longzhu, one of the better teams at keeping people out of the pit. It wasn't perfect. Looked like Spirit had maybe a half second or a 1% window. Stealing the Baron wasn't the 0%, but still, in general, very good stuff peeling away from the Baron. And then Prey decided to get some revenge on Kramer, who was the superstar of Game 1. He got Caitlyn this time, and Prey predictably hit the Ash Arrow. Picks up the kill on Longzhu, just waiting to close the game.
Now moving towards the top side of the map. Of course, the base was broken earlier. The super creeps now having to be dealt with by Marin. Does do decent damage to them with his Blade of the Ruined King and double attack speed items as well, but still so far behind. Now inherent pressure being put on. Khan now bottom side again. Teleport available. He's got a Guardian Angel, so even these ganks that were working for Afreeca those couple of times going to find a little bit more trouble in sorting out.
Out of turret, indefensible for Afreeca Freecs. That will fall down. Good turret. Trap line into this will be a little bit less trivial, and Longzhu have already shown they really don't want a turret dive.
No. Got Ocean Drake now. They can get the tanks underneath the turret and then walk away for 12 seconds, and then they're back at full health. Like, it'll be fine.
You should be a line coach. I can see you've got a very good understanding of the game.
Oh, yes. Got it down to the seconds, Bob. Going to go wide as Cuz is...
Prey can't walk up, so that's not really gaining anything, but in the meantime, it was all a grand distraction as Khan took the bot lane inhibitor.
Yep.
Turret at least.
Actually doing a lot of damage here just inherently. The Afreeca Freecs underneath these turrets. The volleys from Prey need to be respected. Khan jumps his way in. That's the flash and just kills Marin straight up. Arrow flies through, but is going to get the goal. Separated by the Afreeca Freecs members. Justice Punch comes down. That's the taunt onto multiple members. Strangled Thorns from Gorilla is going to secure positioning around this Nexus. Nexus turrets are falling, and Longzhu predictably take this series once again to a game number 3. Afreeca versus Longzhu has been a joy to cast so far, and I'm glad that we get all 3 because both of these games have been one-sided. I hope game 3 is going to be a little bit closer And we're going to get some further information as to the difference between these two teams.
5 games played between Afreeca Freecs and Longzhu. 5 blue side victories means that Afreeca Freecs do have a pretty significant advantage going into the final game. They will be on blue side. So far, influencing the draft has gotten people advantages. Who carried game 1? It was Xayah. Who was the crown jewel of game 2? It was Galio. So let's see if Longzhu get very creative in their pick ban. They've already done that once. They gave up Zach the last time they were on red side, or the only time I should say, in their series 10 days ago. But finding themselves another Galio, finding themselves another game breaker may be important, because if it follows the script, if this truly is a scripted series, it will be Afreeca Freecs in game 3.
Well, hopefully we're not going to see that Galio, because the 3 victories in the last series and this one have been now with Galio for Longzhu Gaming. So it's understandable that if they get that champion, they should be able to take the victory. However, still so many options, so many different things could happen. These drafts have been intelligent, especially the first one, I have to say, even on both sides, despite Longzhu maybe making a slight error with the Rumble lease in first round, but otherwise things were looking good. We'll see what's going to happen. We are going to